Welcome again. We're going to pick up with paper 176.1.5. Christ was telling them about the upcoming destruction of Jerusalem in the previous reading. We're going to continue on.
The apostles sat in silence in the moonlight for a considerable time while these astounding predictions of the Master sank into their bewildered minds. And it was in conformity with this very warning that practically the entire group of believers and disciples fled from Jerusalem upon the first appearance of the Roman troops, finding a safe shelter in Pella to the north. Even after this explicit warning, many of Jesus' followers interpreted these predictions as referring to the changes which would obviously occur in Jerusalem when the reappearing of the Messiah would result in the establishment of the New Jerusalem, and in the enlargement of the city to become the world's capital. In their minds, these Jews were determined to connect the destruction of the temple with the end of the world. They believed this New Jerusalem would fill all Palestine, that the end of the world would be followed by the immediate appearance of the new heavens and the new earth. And so it was not strange that Peter should say, "Master, we know that all things will pass away when the new heavens and the new earth appear, but how shall we know when you will return to bring all this about?" When Jesus heard this, he was thoughtful for some time and then said, "You ever err, since you always try to attach the new teaching to the old. You are determined to misunderstand all my teaching. You insist on interpreting the gospel in accordance with your established beliefs. Nevertheless, I will try to enlighten you." 2. The Master's Second Coming. On several occasions, Jesus had made statements which led his hearers to infer that, while he intended presently to leave this world, he would most certainly return to consummate the work of the heavenly kingdom. As the conviction grew on his followers that he was going to leave them, and after he had departed from this world, it was only natural for all believers to lay fast hold upon these promises to return. The doctrine of the second coming of Christ thus became early incorporated into the teachings of the Christians, and almost every subsequent generation of disciples has devoutly believed this truth, and has confidently looked forward to his sometime coming. If they were to part with their master and teacher, how much more did these first disciples and the apostles grasp at this promise to return? And they lost no time in associating the predicted destruction of Jerusalem with this promised second coming. And they continued thus to interpret his words, notwithstanding that throughout this evening of instruction on Mount Olivet, the Master took particular pains to prevent just such a mistake.
So, if you have read in the book of Revelation, it's going to be a confusing mishmash of a lot of information. Um, and some of that is some modifications made to kind of allude to the destruction of Jerusalem as being the second coming time and whatnot, because it was written before then, but it was also added to it. So there is a lot of confusion regarding Christ's second coming. But rest assured, nobody really knows the day or the hour. But Christ will give us an idea of what to look for with his promised second coming. Because after all, it has been over 2,000 years since Christ left this planet. So, everyone's thinking, well, he should be returning, right? After all, he said he would return. So when's that going to happen? Let's continue on.
In further answer to Peter's question, Jesus said, "Why do you still look for the Son of Man to sit upon the throne of David, and expect that the material dreams of the Jews will be fulfilled? Have I not told you all these years that my kingdom is not of this world?"
So what would happen if Christ said that to us today? He said, "Why do you still look for the Son of Man to sit upon the throne of this world and expect that all your material dreams of everything being hunky-dory, millennial age, light and life, And all these things that we are looking forward to as the second coming and the millennial age of Christ will be fulfilled by me. Have I not told you all these years that my kingdom is not of this world? What would we say today if he said that to us?
The things which you now look down upon are coming to an end. But this will be a new beginning, out of which the gospel of the kingdom will go to all the world, and this salvation will spread to all peoples. And when the kingdom shall have come to its full fruition, be assured that the Father in heaven will not fail to visit you with an enlarged revelation of truth and an enhanced demonstration of righteousness, even as he has already bestowed upon this world him who became the Prince of Darkness, and then Adam, who was followed by Melchizedek, and in these days the Son of Man. And so will my Father continue to manifest his mercy and show forth his love, even to this dark and evil world. So also will I, after my Father has invested me with all power and authority, continue to follow your fortunes and to guide in the affairs of the kingdom by the presence of my Spirit, who shall shortly be poured out upon all flesh. Even though I shall thus be present with you in spirit, I also promise that I will sometime return to this world, where I have lived this life in the flesh, and achieved the experience of simultaneously revealing God to man and leading man to God.
So basically, this is filled with a lot of information and nuance, but let us just dissect it a little bit so we can understand a little bit better. So I don't want anybody to go away saying, what just happened? What did he just say? So you have a promise that that the gospel of the kingdom will go out unto all the world, and that salvation will be spread to all peoples. And the Lord means that, to all peoples. It'll be bestowed upon all peoples. So have we accomplished that yet? Has the gospel of the kingdom been preached and been given to all peoples? And I don't mean just LDS missionaries. I mean the gospel of the kingdom preached to all peoples. No, not yet. So therefore, Christ's second coming in the flesh could not happen, and his glory could not happen until that is at least fulfilled. That's a minimum. That's one item right there. So we have that promise that Christ will come, but he also says that he will not fail to, the Father in heaven will not fail to visit us with an enlarged revelation of truth and an enhanced demonstration of righteousness. What does that mean? Well, some people say, well, it's kind of like, the LDS restoration in the Book of Mormon. It could be the Urantia book. Could be lots of things. These are stepping stones, I believe. They are stepping stones to that enlarged revelation of truth. It could be partly the Urantia book, absolutely, to get us there. And an enhanced demonstration of righteousness. Righteousness is goodness applied. So the Lord would like to give us an enhanced demonstration of goodness applied. And it goes so far as to say that, look, God has given us our planetary prince. He became the prince of darkness, the devil of this world. And then came Adam, who fell. And then followed Melchizedek to try to get us back on track. And then the Son of Man came, or Christ. And so will the Father continue to manifest in his mercy and show forth his love, even to this dark and evil world. And Christ says, after the Father has given me all power and authority, I will continue to follow your fortunes and to guide the affairs of the kingdom by the presence of my Spirit. So the Lord is already here. He has never left. Please recognize that. He has never left. He guides the affairs of the kingdom every moment through the presence of his Spirit, through the Spirit of truth. If you want to feel Christ in your life, look to the Spirit's emanations, the guiding and directing of the Spirit in your life. And even with occasional the voice of the Lord, which typically for me comes in an early morning. When the voice of the Lord comes, it's different than the Spirit, but it can come to all. The Spirit guides and directs every day all the things of this planet. And he says, I shall thus be present with you in the Spirit. But he also promises that he'll sometime return to this world. And he will reveal God to man and lead man to God. That has not happened all the way. I don't believe it's happened. Just as the destruction of Jerusalem happened, I don't believe that the same kind of thing may happen to Jerusalem. But something similar may happen to this world because of our allowing our iniquities to fill completely. I don't know if that'll happen, but that either something like that'll happen or something else will happen. So let's continue on, because Christ kind of talks about that.
Very soon must I leave you and take up the work the Father has entrusted to my hands. But be of good courage, for I will sometime return. In the meantime, my Spirit of the truth of the universe shall comfort and guide you. You behold me now in weakness and in the flesh, but when I return it shall be with power and in the Spirit. The eye of flesh beholds the Son of Man in the flesh, but only the eye of the Spirit will behold the Son of Man glorified by the Father and appearing on earth in his own name.
So there's another promise that the Lord's return will be in the Spirit. And if we have an eye of the Spirit, we will behold the Son of Man glorified. He is here. He has not left. In his comings and goings on this planet, we can feel his presence. We can feel that he is in charge, so to speak, that he is guiding and directing things. And we can be his disciples if we choose to follow him through the Spirit of truth, because that's what he's told us. It's a spiritual thing.
But the times of the reappearing of the Son of Man are known only in the councils of paradise. Not even the angels of heaven know when this will occur. However, you should understand that when this gospel of the kingdom shall have been proclaimed to all the world for the salvation of all peoples, and when the fullness of the age has come to pass, the Father will send you another dispensational bestowal, or else the Son of Man will return to adjudge the age.
Okay, so the Lord says it right there again. He says that the gospel kingdom shall have been proclaimed to all the world for the salvation of all peoples. That has not happened yet. It is being preached, but it has not been preached and proclaimed to all the world yet. It's available to all the world, but all the world cannot receive it. There are places that even now cannot get to. You cannot send missionaries into. You cannot preach the gospel into. People want it and need it, but they can't receive it. They're not free to receive it. There has to be that freedom to receive it. And the time will shortly come when there will be freedom to all to receive it. I promise this and testify to this. With my own knowledge, I understand that to be the case. Things will change in the next generation, or two at the most, that will allow the gospel to be preached to all the world, and all may receive it as they will. There's a lot of things packed in there I won't go into, but that is a promise that I have received, that it will go into all the world. And the Lord will either give us another dispensational bestowal, and this could be the Urantia book. It could be additional truth, enlightened knowledge in some other form, or else the Son of Man will return to judge the age. So one or the other is going to happen.
And now, concerning the travail of Jerusalem, about which I have spoken to you, even this generation will not pass away until my words are fulfilled. But concerning the times of the coming again of the Son of Man, no one in heaven or on earth may presume to speak.
Okay, we'll stop right there. I think it's a good place. We're gonna redo this paragraph because there's a lot in here as well. But the Lord basically promises again, no one is presumed to speak when the Lord will return. But I testify as well, the Lord has already returned. He's never left. He is here in the Spirit and in truth. And we can see Him as moving throughout the world. The body of Christ is alive and well. Christ is in it. Um, and don't let the head say to the hand, I have no need of thee, or the hand to the foot, I have no need of thee. All parts and pieces, all churches, all perspectives of Christ's gospel are valid and of need in this world in order to keep the body alive and well. Thank you for listening.